In 2017, it was my second year teaching here at St. Francis, and Brody was scheduled to be in my kindergarten class, which I was very nervous about. And the year started off normally. He was doing really well. He wouldn't call me Mrs. Lanik. I got Mommy, of course, and all the other kids, instead of calling me Mrs. Lanik, I was Brody's mom. And then just little things started happening. He got a funky rash on his leg, silly pain, well, what we thought were silly pains. And then he lost his appetite, and then he would say, I can't go to the bathroom, my belly hurts. And so we went to the doctor multiple times. We went to the hospital multiple times. And finally, on January 12th, they diagnosed him with stage 4 high-risk neuroblastoma, which is a solid tumor cancer. And his tumor took up the entire right side of his abdomen. It also spread to his bone marrow and his lymph nodes. Right away, I had to quit working, but my husband continued to work. But school, St. Francis, was awesome. They said, whatever you need, we'll help you with.
The school immediately was in shock, and then our next response was, how can we help? So we thought the first immediate thing that took basically no planning was to have a coin war and see what we could raise collecting coins for 3 days. And our goal was to raise about $300 a day and end up with hopefully $1,000 at the end of the 3 days. We ended up coming up with $6,200.
We were smothered with pictures of kids cracking their piggy banks open with hammers and their little safety goggles on, and kids counting money with their puppy dogs, and it was just an overwhelming amount of support.
The other thing that we did, we incorporated the community. We decided to have a basket raffle, and that raised another $6,000 some dollars. One of our 6th grade students came to us, and they had an idea. We organized a dance marathon down in the gym, and we collected another $5,000 on that day.
I was not aware of this part of it, but they were able to raise my entire salary for the first year that I was off, and I didn't realize that was their goal until after. When I said, "You guys realize that what you did? That's what you did," and they said, "Yeah, that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to be able to raise your entire salary, so you didn't have to work," and that's what they were able to do with just a few small fundraisers here at school.
Like most boys his age, Brody's a big fan of superheroes. So when he was diagnosed, our school had a local community member design Battling for Brody t-shirts, and they have a big B, like a big superhero on it. And we got them made for everyone in the entire school. So anytime Brody would have an important test, he would have a scan, he would have a treatment that was particularly hard, we would have a dress down day, and we'd tell everybody, wear your Brody shirts tomorrow. So even though Brody wasn't here in the school, he was in Pittsburgh, but there were 180 other kids back here in Clearfield wearing their red t-shirts and supporting him and thinking of him and praying for him the whole time. Sometimes when we would have our Brody t-shirt days, we would FaceTime Brody and talk to him and show him everybody in the cafeteria in their Brody shirts, and he was able to actually see that we were all back here and supporting him.
I just watched a video off of in one of my Facebook memories of the kids singing to Brody for his birthday, and it just, your eyes well up and you can't help but they're just so sweet and supportive, and they just, no matter what, they supported Brody. After 6 rounds of chemo, we stopped and we scanned, and to be able to move on to the next part of treatment, Brody had to have, it's called a Curie score of 2, and his Curie score was still 11. And so it wasn't what the news we were expecting. At that point, they had told us, we're not quite sure where to go from here. We're not quite sure if we can keep going. We don't know what to do. I messaged all the teachers here, this is what's going on, we need prayer.
So the kindergarten students came up with what we called our Brody prayer. And they got in little groups, and they each wrote one line of the prayer. We put it on a big paper and posted it in the classroom. And every day we would say our Brody prayer to pray that Brody would get better.
Dear God, please help Brody cheer up and be happy. Please make him feel better. Send Brody's angel to watch over him. Please heal him and let him be strong. Amen.
And from that point on, we met every milestone of treatment. The doctor said, well, we're gonna try this. We're not sure if it's gonna work. And I said, okay, we're gonna pray and it's gonna work.
Probably the best moment I've ever had in my teaching career was on the Feast of St. Francis on October 4th, when Kristen called the school and let us know that Brody was in remission.
When we found out his score, his cancer score was a 0, I immediately messaged the teachers, "It's a 0, we have a 0, we're cancer free."
Children's Hospital in Pittsburgh, when a child's diagnosed, they ask them to name their cancer after a bad guy, because that's who they're fighting, that's the enemy. So Brody was a big fan of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and so he named his tumor Shredder. So the kindergarten kids took a lot of delight in coming on camera and being able to say that Brody kicked Shredder's butt.
Good afternoon. Could I interrupt everyone for just a moment, please? We have a really big, really important announcement from the first graders.
Brody kicked Shredder's butt!
We just want to let everyone know that Brody has been having testing for the past 2 days in Pittsburgh, and he has how much cancer first grade?
0!
He's got 0 cancer right now, so our prayers that we've been praying for him have been answered. St. Francis interceded on his feast day, and Brody has 0 cancer. So we just want to say thank you to God, and everybody spread the great news. Have a great night.
From the office, I could hear the cheers coming from the classrooms throughout the school. It was just an amazing moment for all of us. A lot of tears, but tears of joy, which was wonderful to see.
Their response to Brody's progress was overwhelming. A lot of times the doctors didn't think we would get to that 0, or we wouldn't be no evidence of disease. And through prayer and support and our schools, we were there. If I was at a public school, I don't think it would have been very receptive if I gathered my entire class and prayed on a daily basis for someone struggling like Brody. But here at a Catholic school, we pray all the time. If an ambulance goes down the road with those lights flashing, you see the kids make the sign of the cross and they stop and pray. Even if we're outside on the playground, they stop and pray.
As a teacher, I don't know how I could have dealt with telling the rest of the class about Brody's illness and helping them get through it if I wasn't in a Catholic school. Without being able to revert to my faith, without being able to tie it into the kids' faith, it would be very difficult to really help them deal with it and to take action, because there's not a lot a 5-year-old can do, but they can pray.
If we weren't in a private school, that mentality wouldn't have been there. They wouldn't have prayed for Brody every day. They wouldn't have taught the kiddos that that's what you do for someone who's struggling. You reach out, you pray, you love, you support them. Without that support and without that prayer, I don't think we would have gotten to a score of 0.